Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli do'stlar, fikr yetakchilarini doimiy va yangi obunachilari. Bugun bizda maxsus ko'rsatuv. Bu maxsus ko'rsatuvda ko'rganingizdek, bizani 3-mehmonimiz yoki do'stimiz Lazzaka yo'qlar. Sababi bu suhbatni inglizchada to'liq qilyapmiz. Lazzaka hozir repetitorga ketdilar, ingliz tillarini yaxshiroq qilish uchun. Hazillashyapman albatta, imkoniyatlar bo'lmay qoldi bugun. Bugungi mehmonimiz maxsus bizani ustozimiz. Ko'p yildan beri, men 10 yil taniyman bu mehmonimizni. Ismlari Kouly. Michael bilan biz ingliz tilida suhbatlashamiz va suhbat mavzuyimiz sizlarga juda ham qiziqarli bo'ladi deb o'ylayman, chunki yetakchilik, biznes, rivojlanish, global va mintaqaviy darajada qilinadigan o'zgarishlar to'g'risida gaplashamiz. Michael Koulyni men 10 yildan beri taniyman. Bizda shunaqa hamjamiyat bor, SEALA degan, shu yerda bizani ustoz, bizani ko'p yildan beri ham mentor, ham bizani coach, ko'p narsani ulardan o'rganganmiz va ushbu suhbatni sizlar uchun maxsus taqdim qilyapmiz. O'ylaymanki, maza qilasizlar va ko'p narsa o'rganasizlar. Suhbatimiz ingliz tilida bo'ladi. Uni YouTube orqali sizlar tarjimasini YouTube yordam beradi ingliz tilidan o'zbek tiliga o'girishga. Shuning uchun maroqli suhbatga sizlarni taklif qilamiz. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Welcome to Tashkent. It's a great privilege and honor to host you. This is your second time in Tashkent.
Yes. I'm so happy to be here. I haven't seen your beautiful country yet, but I've read so much about its history and I look forward to getting to know it more. I'm also happy to be at the Team University and with you, Hikmat, as one of the founders, the main founder of the university here. So it's a beautiful occasion and I hope that in the future we'll meet more and I'll get to meet more of the beautiful Uzbek people.
Yeah, wonderful. I hope that later on we can discuss more opportunities of how you can help us, help the country develop, and share your recent commitments that you accepted here in Tashkent, which I hope will help us seeing you on a regular basis. But in general, Michael, if you don't mind giving just a brief overview of your career. I obviously have, and I will refer to specifics of your career, but just for our audience, briefly mention how was your life in terms of your jobs and careers and areas where you have served?
Well, my career and my life is maybe a perfect example for, there is this saying that we plan and God laughs. So you make long-term plans and then life takes you in so many different directions that you never even thought about. So my career, I was born in Lebanon, and I lived through the Lebanese Civil War. And I studied at the American University of Beirut. I studied leadership and management. Mm-hmm. And then by coincidence, I joined Reuters, the news agency, the international news agency, as a war journalist. So I did that for like 10 years. I covered wars in Lebanon and the Middle East, Iraq, Kuwait, the Gulf War, Hezbollah, Israel, Palestine, all of these. The same names that you see them now. Unfortunately, yes. I covered them. And then after there was peace in Lebanon and some peace in the Middle East, peace is not very good for journalists, especially war journalists. It becomes boring. So I wrote a little bit about the economy, and then after that I started my journey within Reuters. And my journey in Reuters took me to 22 countries. Mm-hmm. And my last job, I lived in 22 countries. I didn't just visit.
Yeah.
So 22 assignment. And my last job, I was the CEO for Reuters Middle East, mm-hmm. based in Dubai, in charge of the area, from Iran to North Africa. Mm-hmm. So my main career and my life is about three domains. It's about media, mm-hmm. It's about corporate leadership, and it's about education. Yeah. In the media, as I said, I was with Reuters for a long time, and then with another major Middle Eastern media organization that owns companies like OSN. I don't know, maybe your viewers know it. OSN, when they go to Dubai, it's like HBO in America. So I did that also for 5 years as a group conglomerate CEO. So that is sort of that is my CEO life, my corporate life, running organizations at a regional and international level. The other domain is the media, is the educational domain.
Yes.
Because I have always been passionate about leadership. Ever since I could remember, the stories that I remembered, when I was 3 or 4 years old, were mainly about, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Hannibal. My father, who passed away recently, so he used to tell me these stories, and I got addicted. So I've always had this passion about leadership. So wherever I could learn leadership, and I could practice it, I went there. In my media career, I was dealing with state leaders all the time because they make the news.
Yeah.
We call it newsmakers.
Yeah.
So I was interviewing them, spending time with them, understanding how they work from a journalistic point of view.
Yeah.
So I was in the event with the decision makers. So I learned firsthand how you run a country, how you don't run a country, how you mess up a country, how you build a country, how you start a war, how you stop a war, all these dynamics that happen, that we see them in the news now. So I learned leadership from that dimension from them. And then I learned leadership, also business leadership, when I practice it as a CEO, for like 30 years at the international dimension. But my hunger for leadership and leadership education didn't stop. So I continued my education, and I studied at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University.
Yeah.
I studied public leadership. I studied also at Harvard Business School with big names like Michael Porter and the big ones, right? So that was an amazing part of my life. And then I was also teaching fellow at Harvard, and then I worked as an associate in a think tank on leadership and international relations there. I also studied at Princeton University. I studied globalization, international diplomacy, international relations, public policy, the whole thing at Princeton. And then I studied I worked at University of Toronto and many other things.
Yeah.
And I'm doing now, doctoral research work at UCL,
University College London. Yeah.
Yes, in London, also related to leadership. And I see myself until the last day of my life, involved in education and in leadership. Of course, with that comes also, because I started as a journalist, so I write. So I also went into writing books. So I've written something like 14, 15 books. And I can't stop writing. So I'm working now on 2 or 3 books that I've written some time ago, but I need to finish them. So it's an entire journey going around how can leadership help people and organization create a better reality.
Absolutely. Michael, based on what you just said, and obviously I know you for so many years, and you have a unique set of previous experiences and education and everything, which particularly I think appeals to Central Asia, because you have covered East and West.
Correct.
You have covered private sector and government. And I think that makes our dialogue, our interview even more interesting for our audience, I believe. We are watched by, we have almost less than 60,000 subscribers. Mostly we are watched by business owners and CEOs in Uzbekistan, and not only. And because Uzbekistan is opening up, as you can see, there's a big hunger and demand for management and leadership.
Yes.
And I hope we can cover throughout our conversation few aspects of those areas. So, as you said, you started your career as a war correspondent. How did this experience shape you later? Philosophy of leadership, because you have seen so many, let's say, unfair situations, and you have seen all those extreme, I would say, consequences of misleadership, or being emotional throughout decision making, or being selfish or ego. So how does that affect your philosophy of leadership?
Thank you for the question. That was a foundational part in my life, because I saw extremes. As a journalist, I saw how wars can destroy nations. can destroy economies that took years to build. I saw how wars can bring down countries that used to be an example of prosperity, right? Then it completely destroyed itself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, wars are part of human history, so we see that all the time. And I also, at the same time, saw how countries can pick themselves out of the ashes and rebuild themselves again. So I saw both sides. I saw what happens to societies from two extremes, destruction and construction. And not only societies, because societies are made of people. So I saw the same thing happening to people. I saw how people get, killed and die for no reason or for cheap reason, right? As a consequence of war and stuff like that. And I saw how people also and societies develop themselves and fulfill themselves and create things and create a better life for them. So I saw both sides. And that gave me a philosophical approach to leadership, because I understood the impact of bad leadership, which can lead to the destruction of human life, societies, and organizations, economies, and countries. And I saw also the impact of leadership in making sure that stupid mistakes are not done, and wisdom is applied. And not only that, if there are mistakes, they're corrected, and nations are built, and countries and organizations are built. So for me, leadership is about how do you mobilize people and organizations and countries so that they enhance their experience of living, because in the end, we're talking about living organizations and living organisms. We are alive, right? Sure. We are alive. Organizations are alive. Countries are alive. And we experience this living. So the ultimate question is, what is the quality of your experience of life? What is the quality of your experience of life as an individual? And here comes self-leadership. What's the quality of your experience of life as an organization? And here comes the organization leadership. And then what's the quality of your experience of life as a nation? And here comes, public leadership. You see? So leadership is about how you mobilize individuals or organizations, companies, corporate world, NGOs, institutions, and nations and countries, so that they maximize their experience of living. Now, to maximize your experience of living, life is dynamic, right? So it's all up and down, and things happen, and it's unpredictable, and it's volatile, and it's complicated. Right? So you're dealing with crisis most of the time, and you're dealing with opportunities and with mistakes. So the idea is, how do you mobilize all these people, individuals, organizations, or countries, so that they do what is required to live a better life? And that means minimize the mistakes that they do, make better decisions, solve problems, deal with the challenges that they face, that life brings to all of us as individuals and organizations and countries, and also capture or create opportunities.
I see.
So for me, leadership is so important. I mean, without leadership, we're finished. We're finished. Why? Because somebody has to take on the moral and intellectual responsibility of asking the question, are we happy with our current reality? Can we create a better reality? Yes or no? If we can, then what should we do? And how can this person or this entity mobilize people so that we create this reality? That's why real leadership is so important, because without leadership, who's going to open the eyes of people? Who's going to say we can do better? Who's going to say this is a mistake? Who's going to say we need wisdom? Who's going to say let's focus or let's solve our problems? Who's going to say let's find creative solutions, or let's capture a rare opportunity, or let's create new opportunities? So all of that is the responsibility of leadership. That's why without leadership we're finished. It is everything bad that happens is because of the absence of good leadership, and everything good that happens is because somebody exercised good leadership.
Yeah. Michael, that's a very interesting, I think, thought, and I would like us to develop this. But interestingly, recently I had a conversation with one known politician in the country who said, we are having rare cases of great leadership these days, and he was referring to Gandhis and Churchills and Roosevelts. And interestingly, I was thinking that all of those leaders, they have been so they were shaped by wars and conflicts.
Yes.
Is there any correlation that conflicts create great leaders, and in the peacetime we have mediocre leaders? Is there any? Can we assume that way, or there is no correlation?
It is possible. It's possible because when there is conflict, conflict means pain.
Mm-hmm.
Conflict means destruction. Conflict means suffering.
Yeah.
Right? Means death. And there's so many kinds of suffering: economic, personal, human life, you name it. So that's painful.
Mm-hmm.
So it is normal that at some stage, usually at some stage, in some countries or some situation, it takes a short time, and sometimes it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody emerges to say, this is unnecessary pain. We can solve our problem. We don't need to continue like this.
Yeah.
Somebody says, enough is enough. Somebody says, like in the case of Gandhi.
Yeah.
Gandhi said, he looked at his country and he said, we don't need to live like this.
Yes.
We can live a better life. We can create a better India. And he looked at the situation of India and the problems that were causing the misery and the suffering of India at that level, and he said, okay, we're going to do something about it. So he started, first he mobilized himself.
Yeah.
So he took responsibility and he took accountability against himself. Nobody asked him. He took the initiative. That's why initiative is important.
Yeah.
That's why care is important in leadership, because without care, without putting your heart into it, it will not work. Yeah. So he started mobilizing himself, then he mobilized people around him, then the circle, then he inspired people, then it became bigger and bigger and bigger, and it created a movement, and it led to the liberation or the independence of India, mm-hmm. and it created a better India. So it is normal that out of the pain of people and organizations and countries, somebody will stand up and say, we can do better, and start mobilizing. Now, it's not guaranteed it will succeed. Yeah. Because I'm sure before Gandhi, there were people who tried, but it didn't work.
It worked, yeah.
Yes, so it happened that after so many attempts, maybe over hundreds of years, when the right situation, when the right environment happened and the right person emerged, all of these came together and it was succeeded. Yeah. So yes, crisis and pain and suffering and failure, at an individual level, social level, organizational level, country level, can lead to the emergence of mm-hmm. leadership that can solve this. However, mm-hmm. There are also situations where there was no conflict at all. In fact, things were normal. Right? Somebody said, we are doing fine, but we can do much better.
Yeah.
We can do much better. And we can create a better reality.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at that time, people came to this person or this group of people and told them, why are you bothering yourself? We're doing fine. Because they could not see that there could be a better reality. Mm-hmm. They could not see that there were nations or organizations or countries or universities or families or individuals who can create something better.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be out of pain. It can also come from seeing the possibility of a better life.
Yeah.
I'll give you examples.
Yes.
A more classical example, very obvious example, is some of the countries in the Gulf region, where if you just look at the pictures and history, just 50, 60 years ago, 30 years ago, they were mainly desert. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there were no issues, and they were living like that for hundreds of years, mm-hmm. as tribes and nomads and Bedouins living there. Then somebody said, what? Other nations have managed to do great things and to improve the quality of their life. So why we don't do the same?
Yeah.
Right? And And although others said, no, it will not happen, why are you bothering yourself, it's difficult, they said, no, we can create a better reality. So although there was no urgency, although there was no pain, but the inspiration and the attraction of a better reality,
some kind of aspiration of
exactly,
a better life.
said that we can do better. We can do better. And that led to miracles. I mean, like the way you see now, if you go to some of the Gulf countries, and not only Gulf countries, I'm sure in your society also, Southeast Asia, look at China, right? Southeast Asia, look at the countries, look at Germany after World War II, look at Japan after World War II, Even in Uzbekistan and in some of the countries in this part of the world, I'm sure there are so many examples of people who came either through the government or through the public domain or through the NGO or through the corporate sector, who came and said, we can build a bigger company, we can build more universities, we can have higher education, we can have a better education, we can have we can become a center for a hub for education, we can have a better banking sector. Our country can have a better GDP. Our country can have more more income per person. Per capita. Yeah. So and people could become. We don't have to live poor. We don't have to have poverty. We can improve things, infrastructure.
So the dreams can also be the driver.
Of course.
Same like
two forces. The force of pain, right? Where somebody says, enough pain, let's do something about it, and the attraction of a better reality, the attraction of something better. Although there's no pain, but if you can become well off and rich, so that you and your family have a better life and also help other people, why not? If your country can have better roads, better infrastructure, better hospitals, better schools, you see?
Absolutely.
Why not? If your country can have a better economy, where people would make more money, will produce more goods, more people will come and visit your country, create income from tourism. Why not?
Sure.
So all of these can be also motives to increase, to create, effective leadership.
We have this saying, in Uzbek it sounds like Orzu Havas, which means dreaming of a better life.
Yes.
And that's considered to be a good virtue in Uzbekistan. And so Central Asia in general was not in the war, thank God, for a very long time.
Yes.
But the changes are happening, and it's great. So coming to...
And your university is an example of that. I know you as a friend. I know you from the time that we used to talk about your idea.
Yes.
That this was just an idea.
Absolutely.
And it was like, I'm sure it was a scary idea. University, you look like, Cambridge or Oxford are 1,000 years old. Harvard is like 400 years old.
Absolutely.
You see? So to say we're going to build a university, but all this came from as you were saying, that the passion to create something good for society. And in this case, because your heart is in education, right? So you said, let's create something that, an institution that would give our Uzbek people or the visitors, to come to our country, a better education. And you did this. So that's also, we're sitting now in this place. It's a manifestation of act of leadership driven by creating a better reality.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really great. And as you said, 10 years ago, it was just an idea, the spark of something, but now, thanks to certain developments in the region, not only myself, but many, I would say, passionate people are trying to create some projects. And bringing this conversation to Uzbekistan, I would like to ask you the next question. So how should we think of creating next generation of leaders in Uzbekistan, both in politics and business? So would you have any particular advices based on your experience around the world, how, especially now with the time of AI and big changes, what particular leadership skills or leadership aspects we should focus, especially talking to younger generation of entrepreneurs?
This is a fundamental question about leadership, especially when we're talking about state leadership. I'm about to finish a book now called Presidential Leadership.
Oh.
How presidents can run or kings can run countries. And the bottom line also is about, creating a more prosperous, happier, successful society. So just like you want to create a better life for yourself or for your family, people who run countries, they think about how do we create a better life for the entire society.
Yeah.
You have 35 million people in Uzbekistan. So how do we manage things, and how do we make sure that 35 million people in Uzbekistan will have a better life? This should be the main obsession of people who run nations. And listen, it looks complicated, but it's really not very much complicated. I'll tell you why. Because the main force for creating better things is within each of us. You don't need to program a seed to become a tree.
Yeah.
A tree is already programmed to grow. You don't need to program a human being to dream of a better life. Right? Who doesn't dream of a better life? Who would reject moving to a nicer house?
Yeah.
Who would reject driving a better car? Who would reject going to a more effective and efficient hospital? Nobody. It's our nature.
Yes.
We want to grow. We want to expand. That's human nature, right? So the main force is there. That's why, in my view, because the main force is there, you don't need to create it. The only thing that you need to do is just create the environment where this main force is free. Right? So let's take agriculture as an example.
Yeah.
The farmer doesn't need to create seeds. The seeds are there. In this case, are human beings.
Yeah.
Right? All what the farmer needs to do is make sure that he or they create the right soil, the right environment. So they put the seed in the right soil, they take care of the soil, and they make sure that they're watering the soil.
Yeah.
That alone would just make the place, a beautiful, fertile place that gives fruits and gives a good harvest. So if you just create a good environment, a healthy environment, where people get good education, because without education you can't do it.
Sure.
You need good education, and that's what Team University now always aspires to do, even more and more and more. So, good education, right? If you just good education, if you provide law and order, where people feel safe and secure, so that they don't think about their survival, right? They don't think about the basics. You don't think about, will there be bread tomorrow or not, or is it safe to walk at night or not, Yeah. So the fundamentals of safety are there. If you create a system where, justice system of fairness, well, you know that your rights are protected, right? If you just create these things, right? Just that's it.
Very basic. Yeah.
Basic, just safety, so that people don't worry about their safety and security. If you create good education, so that people learn the right thing, and if you create a good judicial system, where if problems happened, people will be treated in justice, so people don't have to worry about being treated unfairly. If you just do that, automatically the society will nourish. I mean, let's take let's say an organization as an example. If the people who are running the organization, if you just create an organization where it has a learning culture, an organization where people are treated with respect and fairly, an organization where everybody is given a fair opportunity, right, to come up with ideas and to excel, and whoever wants to grow and get promotions and work hard, it is appreciated. There is space for them. What happens? It will grow. It will explode with growth, in fact. So what I'm saying is, human nature is already geared to growth. So, and in my definition, the prime responsibility or task of leadership is just to create the environment for the human soul to nourish. When you create, you don't have to do anything. Just give them space to blossom.
Yeah.
It's like you're with your kids, right? If you treat them with respect, give them good food, make it a peaceful home, a happy home, as much as possible. Give them good education. And if they come up with ideas, you don't suppress them, right? You encourage them. You will see that each one of them has a certain talent. So if you just keep encouraging them, they will fly on their own.
Michael, it sounds really fundamental and simple, and I trust what you're saying. But let's debate here, because if it was as easy and straightforward as you say, we would have a perfect world and perfect organizations. Why it's not happening? What's the problem with the leaders of the 21st century, where there is so much technologies and everything we can agree on, come to a consensus on a global scene in politics and on a country level and on an organizational level? Why then we don't have leaders who only think about prosperity, who only think about development? Why it's not then happening? Why it's failing?
Good question. Unfortunately, I mean, look at the world. Every time you see unnecessary problems and wars and stuff in the world, is a failure of leadership, because we don't need to have this. We have enough resources on this planet, and we have enough intellectual resources in our minds, the collective human brain, and we have enough financial resources to solve every single problem on Earth. Everyone. We can create a society where there's no poverty anymore. There's no, most of a big percentage of the food that is harvested is thrown away.
Yeah.
And when we have hundreds of millions sleeping for, hungry. So all of that is because of lack of leadership. Now, why is that? A number of reasons. Number one, not enough people care. And the core of leadership is, it's not about you. Leadership is about others.
Yeah.
Right? To exercise leadership and think about how you make life for others better, you have to move your focus from yourself to others. Just like when you are as a father or a mother of a family, because you love your kids, you make your kids as priority.
Yeah.
And that comes natural, right? So it's about them. It's what's best for your kids, your family, what you leave for them, right? But that is driven by love. Now, you can do the same for a society or a community, but you need love. So you need to think, the more you expand the circle of care to include more people, the more you can make an impact. So the first issue is not enough people who care, right, about this, about making an impact beyond themselves. That's number one. Number two is, unfortunately, sometimes, smart people, when intelligence is combined with care and love and, doing good, right, it creates miracles. But when it's combined with ego, with the love of power, with greed, then it backfires, because ego-driven, smart people who are driven by ego, they're dangerous, because instead of sharing and creating for everybody, they just take from everybody. So unfortunately, the forces of greed, the forces of, unhealthy competition, the forces of evil, the forces of unfair competition, the forces of selfishness, all of these corrupt.
They're also natural to us.
They're also natural, human life, human nature, and they corrupt minds. So that's also wasted opportunities. And the last thing that I want to say, there are many reasons, is that unfortunately, because these things exist in life, to create something good, you have to know how to pacify these forces.
Yeah.
So acts of leadership succeed, listen carefully, acts of leadership succeed not because there are people who believe in what you do, and because you have supporters, and what you do is good, and it's easy and everybody will clap for you. No, acts of leadership succeeds because leadership requires that you have the skills of how you deal with enemies, with adversaries, with people who will sabotage. How you deal with the selfish, and with the greedy, and with the criminals, and with people who want to twist the laws, and to go into unfair competition, right? So to succeed, to exercise leadership, it is true that you need to have supporters, but supporters alone is not enough. You have to know how to manage, pacify, right, your enemies, the people who will be obstructing you, because it's not going to be an easy journey. I mean, look at the example we took about yourself. You mentioned about Gandhi and Mandela and these famous ones. I mean, Gandhi spent a big part of his life going in and out of jail.
Yeah.
And in the end, he was shot.
Yeah.
Right? Although he was a peaceful person. He didn't believe in violence. But these things happened to him. Mandela spent 26 years of his life in jail. All what he wanted is just fairness in his society. So the world, it is what it is now, because not enough people care, and because when people succeed, instead of thinking about others while thinking about themselves, they go into greed, which is human nature, unfortunately, and selfishness, and because leadership is hard, because you have to deal with smart enemies who want to sabotage what you're doing, and instead of doing good things for everybody, they want the good things to them. And that's why leadership education is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why exercising leadership without getting the right education is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you will be faced with resistance. Thinking that just because you have good intentions, you want to, expand your company, your organization, your university, your country, whatever that is, right? That people will be clapping for you and you'll have red carpet and everybody will support. That's naive. There will be people, for whatever reasons, who would want to destroy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn how to do that, it's an art.
Yeah.
If you don't learn how to do that, you will be smashed.
Yeah.
Because these people are also smart. The forces of evil, the force of destruction, of greed, of selfishness, of criminality, let's say, of stupidity, are also strong.
Absolutely.
So you have to know how to pacify these things so that you can, at the end, create some impact.
Sure.
And that's not easy. That's why what you guys do here in this university, and education in general, right, is important, because leadership requires education. You have to, this thing about, people are by default born leaders is rubbish.
Sure.
It is rubbish. You have to educate people on how to exercise leadership. Otherwise, they will fail.
Yeah. So, and bringing, I like your ideas, and bringing this to the private sector a little bit. As you said, you might have noble ideas, great ideas, but if you don't have the set of skills to implement, and as you say, mobilize people around those ideas, they don't become successful projects, right? In your book that I am now reading, the Finding Your Own Homos, you have this notion of finding what you love and really developing that mastery. Let's say I am doing the university project, and I think I really love, I'm very passionate about this. But tell me, why not all great ideas are becoming great projects? Like, although we love what we do, what are the pitfalls when we have noble ideas, we want to spend years of our life perfecting that project, but why only maybe 1% of the projects they succeed? Although they're very noble, they're very passionate about those ideas.
Yes.
Why in business we don't see leaders everywhere? Why not all projects are successful?
Okay, so you see, one of the common sort of mistakes people do, it's a common, unfortunately, wisdom, and I hear it a lot, social media and others, is this thing, follow your passion. Now, passion is good, and do what you love is good, but that's never enough. There are rules for something to succeed. There are rules.
Yeah.
Love alone is not enough. It's important, but it's important enough to keep you in the game, to learn how to get it done in the right way. So follow your passion, but also learn how to do whatever is required to do it right. So there are these two concepts: do what you love or do what you're good at.
Yeah.
You see? So I love, let's say, football. I don't know what's the main
Football, boxing.
Football, boxing. Let's say I love boxing and football. I might love it. I might spend every day, I don't know, hours watching videos on football and boxing, and have all these books about it, and know the name of every athlete in the world and give you their entire history. You know, I might be the Wikipedia of football. But my love alone is not enough. I mean, if I go to a rink, I will be beaten up, right? If I go to a football field, I cannot win. Why? Because I need to have the requirements to win. So, let's say you have a passionate idea about so and so and so, right? You want to create something new. You want to create a new line of business. You want to start a new company. You're an entrepreneur. You have a dream. You want to start a company. That's all good. You've been dreaming about this for all your life, but love alone will not get you there. What will get you there is doing whatever is required to do it successfully, right? So, follow your passion is good. Let's say if you want to run a company, let's say you want to become a CEO. I've heard this so many times in my life. When I'm conducting workshops and master classes on leadership for executive, I want to become a CEO. Okay, fine. I've always dreamed to become a CEO. Fine, but do you know how to become a CEO? Do you have the capabilities and the competence and the skills to how to become a CEO? Love alone is not enough. You have to learn how to do the job properly. Because if you don't do it properly, number one, it will not happen. Number two, people who are better than you will beat you in competition. Right? So follow your passion is good, but also you have to learn how to do the requirements of success. This is where education is so important. Now, why love is important? Because you have to have that kind of love to continue the journey of learning. Because on the journey of execution, my friend, as you know, it's going to be a huge line of failures.
Yeah.
Nobody gets it right.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that will keep you in the game, where you would say, I will not give up, I'll try again, and you don't take it personally, you don't collapse, you don't get depressed, you don't give up, is your love. Love can, if you're passionate about and you love what you do, will give you the energy to learn, and when you learn what is required, then you can succeed. But love alone is not enough. You have to combine, do what you love, but also make sure that you know how to do it properly. Yeah. If I have to choose, I would say do what you know best, what you do best.
Yeah.
Right? Do what you do best. Sometimes I see people, they're not really passionate about what they do. They have other passions, but they're brilliant in what they do, and it succeeds.
So
it's an input and output thing. You have to put the right input, you have the right output.
So not necessarily they have to love it, but if they are very good at it, they can continue doing that.
If you love it and you're not very good at it, somebody else will do it. So you have to be very good at it. In fact, you have to be excellent at it and brilliant. Yeah. But to do that, you have to learn.
Yeah.
It doesn't come like this. That's why education is so important. Education. And not only education in universities, continuous education. You know, since my childhood, I was in education, and until I die, I'll have one foot in education, because you have to learn, continuously learn, right? So learning, master classes, executive programs, MBAs, whatever it is, PhDs, you have to learn how to do things better. Otherwise, it will fail.
Interestingly, Michael, we have a notion here, a very strong one, that there is a strong cohort of people who do not read books, who do not do any formal education, but they're very successful.
Yes.
And they push the idea that in order to be successful, it is not necessary that you learn formally from books or go to trainings. And probably that has more or less general application, but particularly here, there is a notion that this works. What would be your say to this?
Well, it depends. Listen, what's most important is that you learn. Now, if you're smart, you learn in the most effective and impactful way, right? Because there's an art in learning as well. You have to be smart, not only when you learn, you have to be smart about how to learn.
Yeah.
So you could learn something, if you do it properly, you can learn it in like 3 months.
Yeah.
But if you say, I will do it on my own, it might take 2 years.
Yeah.
And you don't have so much time. Okay, I'll give you an example. Try to learn on your own how to become a brain surgeon. It doesn't work. It does not work.
Yeah.
Try to learn how you on your own how to fly an airplane
Yeah.
with 300 people. It does not work.
Yeah.
Try to learn on your own how to, I don't know, build an assembly line or create a new product that is based on whatever, petrochemicals. It doesn't work. Right? It does not. There are some
There's a
things.
science behind it.
Exactly. There are some things that you can learn by yourself. That's fine. But the fundamental things, you have to do the proper things to learn them. Listen, there's more even the more important things. Okay, what if you want to learn this on your own, right? And you think like you need 2 years to learn it. You read a book. I mean, I don't know how much time you need to read a book and teach yourself. But your competitor or somebody else who wants to do the same thing went into an intensive track,
Yeah.
and he learned it in 20% of the time.
Yeah.
So by the time you're still learning on your own way, that person took a shortcut. He learned from the right people, from the right processes, university, master class, whatever that is, from the experts, right? And he learned it properly and quickly, and he won the advantage of beating you in time. So by the time you trained yourself, right, you already lost an advantage because somebody is ahead of you.
Right.
Another reason, if you learn by yourself, it's good. You should always learn, but you should employ all mechanisms of learning. All mechanisms.
Not just reading books.
Of course,
not
of
just-
course. No.
yeah.
You have everything: social media, YouTube, right? Universities, master classes, whatever it is, all of them together. And you have to be smart, making sure that you learn from the right people. Because if you learning is about getting information, right? And knowledge. If you learn from the wrong people, then you're learning the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's one more thing. If you learn from the smart people, then you're learning how to save mistakes. You don't have to do mistakes by your own, So you're saving time. So that's why you have to be also smart about learning. But without learning, there's nothing. You can't do anything. So you have the first sign of intelligence is, how do I learn this properly? How do I learn it in the most efficient way and from the best people?
Yeah.
So that you can learn what is required to give the best results, and so that you can remove the threat of your competitors becoming more competent than you are.
Have you met leaders, including business leaders, who would say, "Oh, I didn't get a formal education, and one doesn't need a formal education. I can hire someone who is smart," and especially for entrepreneurs, maybe business leaders, it's actually unnecessary. Sometimes it's bad to go through formal education because it puts you in a box, in a frame. Have you met people like that who would reject education and think that actually street smart is much better?
Less and less. I used to hear stories like this,
Yeah.
a long, long time ago. But now, I mean, they used to say, if you don't know how to write and read, you're ignorant and you're illiterate. Then they said, if you don't know internet, if you're not, if you don't know how to use the internet, you're illiterate. Now, if you don't know AI, you're illiterate. So show me somebody now who can survive in whatever they're doing without knowing AI and the rest. So street smart is good, right? But we're not selling apples anymore. I mean, it's not that. It's complicated now. Everything, technology is in everything. So how can you do that? Now, if you are, let's say, an angel investor, and you have a sense of, where to invest and all of these things, that's fine, right? That's also a sort of kind of intelligence that you acknowledge that you're not a good CEO, so you get a CEO. That's also smart, right? That's also smart. But you can't get it right all the time. So point is, there is no substitute for learning. You want to learn only by yourself, fine. But remind yourself, you are not alone in the game.
Yeah.
People who learn better than you will beat you.
Yeah.
It's an open world now.
Sooner or later.
Yes.
I'm glad that you brought up the topic of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
This is something very, as they say, sexy, and
Yes,
something
yes.
that
The right time.
is in all agendas. So connecting those two, the leadership and artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
I'm sure you're spending hours and hours thinking about that. Are there any leadership skills that are not replaceable by AI?
Not replaceable by AI.
Yeah, like as a human being, can we delegate leadership to AI, or how does that tango work out in future? Like, should we, as leaders, should we delegate everything, or we should keep something with our own, let's say, toolbox and mandate?
Yeah. Okay. On AI, I thought about this for a long time also, and it's a project of a book about the impact of AI on leadership. Listen, I think we should stop all conversations, discussions about AI is good or bad, whatever. It's too late. AI is part of reality. It's finished. Don't even waste a moment discussing about whether AI is danger or not. It's finished. It's done. AI is here, unstoppable. It cannot be stopped. It's like discussing whether we should have electricity. It's finished. Don't waste your time. So the conversation to be now, what's the best way to use AI? And whether we like it or not, even people who are against AI, I don't know if they realize it or not, but more and more, most of the things they do, AI is involved. I mean, AI is involved in your smartphone, right? AI is involved in maybe in your car now, Sure, yeah. AI is involved in the way maybe the traffic lights are managed in the city. So AI is involved in the hospital that you go to. At least different kinds of AI. And it's going to get more and more involved, it's going to be part of our life. So people who don't use AI are going to become illiterate. They're going to be out of the game, right? This is a deadly mistake. So it's not about we use AI or not. It is who's going to be the smartest in using AI in the best possible way. Now, there is AI now and there is AI in the future. If we get to a point where AI in the future becomes super smart, no hallucinations, no mistakes, whatever, because now we talk about AI that it has hallucinations and sometimes not accurate,
Yeah.
So if we talk about the future where AI will be perfect, really the smartest generative AI and the whole thing, then it's a different scenario. But now, definitely leaders everybody should use AI, but as a support mechanism. AI will save you time. AI will give you options. Right? AI will give you ideas that you didn't think about. Right? In the end, it is your responsibility to take all these options and make the decision yourself.
Yeah.
It is dangerous to let AI decide on your behalf. It is dangerous to say, okay, I asked AI said this thing, right? He said, this is what I should do, and I'm doing it. It is dangerous. We're not at this stage yet, right? So definitely use AI to generate options, to save your time in thinking, right? But don't rely on AI alone. But definitely use it, right? To the best of your capacity. In the future, I think there will be a point, and we're getting there close, where AI will be definitely smarter than us, 100%. Very smarter than us, and we will have that will be a problem, because we will get to a point where we will be 100% sure that the AI is not making a mistake, and then leaders, listen to this, that's the dangerous part.
Yeah.
Leaders will ask AI, let's say, I'm going to give you a sort of, let's say, 2 examples. Let's say a corporate example. AI will tell you, it's highly recommended that you acquire this company.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's a big decision.
Sure.
And it will tell you, even if it require that you borrow or you sell so and so part of your businesses, this line of business, do that now and buy this company. Right? Now, you will ask AI, what's the logic? Why are you telling me this with so much insistence? AI will tell you, you will not understand. But we'll get to that point, because AI will make so many calculations, so many interpretations. It will have processed so much data about the macro environment around you, the economy, the industry, the sector, future forecast, history, all of this thing. And at the end, it will tell you, buy this company now. I'm telling you, if you don't buy it now, technology will change, you'll be out of business. So AI will tell you, I can't explain it to you because you don't get it, right?
You don't have cognitive.
You don't have that experience. So what do you do then? What do you do at that stage? Or let's take another example, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there,
Oh my
right? So Or let's take another example. Let's say a country leader, right, in a certain geopolitical, that is disaster, a geopolitical situation. Let's say
Start a war.
Start a war. Not start a war.
Oh my
What? What do you mean start a war? He says, listen, geopolitically, so and so and so and so is happening. If you don't preemptively start a war now, you're going to
gonna be too
lose.
late, yeah.
So he said, what do you mean start a war? I don't see any signals, right? But AI will tell you, I have made all the calculations and I am 100% sure that it's going to be 90% is going to be a war. So start a war now if you want to stay alive. So how do you make that decision? And if you tell AI, how do you know that? They will tell you, listen, you cannot...
trust me.
Just trust me, you can't understand. But we're getting there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're getting there. And I think in our lifetime.
But I think that sounds like a moral dilemma. I hope we won't face. I mean, in a way that you remember all those moral dilemmas to hit the old lady or a kid when you have an accident, potential accident, and you don't have the right solution there.
Yeah, God help us. I mean, really, it's going to be. I don't have answer to. Nobody knows what will happen when we get to that point.
I wanted to raise this question of leadership with women or women leadership. In regions where you lived for a long time, Middle East and our region, Central Asia, women would face cultural and societal barriers to leadership. What advice would you give to women and girls in the context of who aspire to become successful leaders and managers?
Yes. It's interesting you're asking this question because it is the subject of my PhD research. Actually, the entire research is based on how can women, middle management women or mid-career women in Muslim countries rise to senior leadership positions. So you have from Indonesia to Morocco, right? These are mainly Muslim societies. And the research is how do these women, not junior, middle, go to senior management, because that's where the issue is. They call it the glass ceiling, right?
Absolutely.
It's becoming better. Depends on society, and my focus is on an extreme situation that is changing quickly, and that's Saudi Arabia. That's the sample that I'm studying. So your question is at that timely, it comes at the right time. Listen. So to women, I say the following. I always believe my philosophy that I'm trying to sort of preach is called leadership realpolitik. So it's based on reality, not la la land stuff, not wishful thinking stuff. And realpolitik, or being a realist, it requires that we confess that this is, especially in our cultures, i.e., let's say, Muslim countries, from Indonesia to Morocco, it's a man's world.
Yeah, dominated.
It's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
In fact, it's always it's thought also that the whole world is now, not only in Muslim countries, is man's world, and there are a million reasons for that. We don't need to go through this because of socioeconomic reasons, the whole thing, and thousands of years ago, who used to go and hunt, and physical strengths, and the men are the providers, economic dominance, the whole thing. Anyway. So without having to go into analyzing the past, the reality says the following. This is a man's world. Now,
for good or bad, I mean it.
Yeah, that's reality. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. That's how it is. And you can't negotiate with reality. You have to start with accepting it. Now, so and it varies from one country to another. To what extent, it's dominated by men, or women have a smaller margin. Now, unfortunately, in some countries it's going backward, but in many other countries it's opening up more.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to education, because education that is open for women now is helping women prove that they can do almost all the jobs that men can do, and that they're an extremely valuable resource for society and for organizations. So it's really foolish not to make use of that. Anyway, so reality. So first point to women is that's the reality. It's men's world. So that's where you're starting from. That's number one. Number two is the following. Some countries, this is so complicated that even when some countries are making it their policy, the government policy, to open spaces for women,
Like a quota system.
like quota system and so many other things, but the social aspect is still dominant, you know? If you make it like whatever, I mean, policy can facilitate things, but just because you change the role or made quotas or whatever, it doesn't mean that you change the mindset and the culture of a society.
Absolutely.
Especially when religion is part of it.
Yeah.
So there's tradition, religion, ethnic stuff, so many deep elements, deeply rooted. So to dream that this could change, overnight, it's not realistic. Right? So it's men's world for so many reasons, and there are attempts that to expand, to change this reality, but it is not going to be very simple because this is like thousands of years deep, right? The third element is, and this is good news, is that in the end results have to prove themselves, right? So if a woman has assumed a position of authority or exercising leadership and is successful, men's word or no men's word, you can't keep that quiet. You cannot. It's obvious.
Yeah.
This person who's happened to be a woman, right? She's doing a great job. So you can't deny that.
Yeah.
So even if it's man's word, the competence and the result forces itself. So my advice or my suggestion to women is there is no substitute for doing it right. So you have to learn how to exercise leadership.
Okay.
Right? You have to do it properly because the job has to be done. Right? Let's take an example. The Prime Minister of Italy now.
Yeah.
Now, whether she's a man or a woman doesn't really matter. I'm sure there are some nuances, but when election comes, she will be judged not on gender, maybe a small element on gender, but if she did a good job,
If she delivers. Yeah.
if she delivers, right? Who can deny that? When the figures say she did a brilliant job, men or women cannot change that reality. I'm sure it might be impacting a little bit, but the figures are there. So when you deliver, you have a very strong weapon in your hand.
Yeah.
Take Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
You see, so why am I saying this? Because saying blame, feeling victim, feeling sorry for yourself, although justified. In many cases justified because unfair treatment, because women have been unevenly treated and there's no justice. And
Misogyny
because of course there has been so much injustice. But what I'm saying, putting energy there to feel guilty, to give up, right? Your agency, that you can do things, right? To blame and to say I'm powerless, it will not help. It will not help, right? It doesn't change the fact that you're right or not right. In many cases, you're right, but it will not help. What will help is solving the problem. So the first thing you should do is to learn how to exercise leadership. That's where we come now to education. Education, learning. You have to learn how to exercise leadership, right? How to do a job better than a man.
Yeah.
That's one. Now, even if you do that, it's not enough. Because you are a disadvantage.
Yeah.
You are a disadvantage. So in general, let me think of it this way. In general, and I'm super generalizing, in many societies, let's say a man and woman are doing an equal job, they will choose a man.
Yeah.
Because men are choosing.
Yeah.
See, it's men's club.
Yeah.
Yes?
So what you're saying is that women, first of all, have to be competitive. They have to start with this.
100%.
What's the next thing they have?
Listen, not only that, they have to learn, unfortunately, I'm saying this unfortunately, it's not fair, but you have to even do a better job than men.
Absolutely, yeah.
Better job. Let's say a man on, let's say, GPA, right, scored like, let's say, 3.8. Now, if you score 3.8, maybe they will choose you because a man. But if you score 4,
Yeah.
Then, I mean, how can you argue? Somebody has to really make an argument that to say, no, we'll take 3.8, not 4.
Yeah.
You see? Now, the same thing for the Prime Minister. I mean, if she's doing very well, so how can you do that?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying, unfortunately, and women understand this, you have to prove yourself more than men
Yeah.
to overcome this disadvantage. Now, having said that, you also have to learn how to negotiate, how to navigate the system,
Yeah.
because it's not just fact-based, you know? It's not just fact-based. This is a man's world. You're going into a territory that's dominated by men, right? Now, just having a CV or a track record alone may not be enough. You have to know how to negotiate, how to network, you know, how to build friendship, how to be unthreatening.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to deal with men considering their insecurities. I know a person. Her husband died. She inherited the organization of her husband, successful one. For 2 years, men did not speak to her.
Oh.
2 years, 2 complete years, they would not talk to her. Because in their culture, they cannot take instructions from a woman. Although it's her company and she's
the owner.
She's the owner. She pays them.
Yeah.
But with patience, you know, she could have fired them.
Yeah.
But with patience, slowly. Now they're like, you know, like devotees, you know, they're like
Goddess.
ultra loyal. So that took patience, that took negotiations, you have to understand the psychology of men, you have to know the insecurities of men, you have to understand men's world. I'm going to say something that is funny, but it's not half funny. You have to know your enemy. You see, you have to know your enemy. If you're considering them as an enemy or competitor, you know your competitor.
Yeah.
So you have to know them, because alone, CV alone, competence alone is not enough. You have to know how to negotiate, and maintain your position, and consolidate, prove more, results, and then go higher and higher. Now, will that eventually be easy journey? It is not easy.
Yeah.
It is not easy. But let me tell you something also, to be fair. It is not also easy for men. I tell you why. Because men also have to compete with other men.
Yeah.
Yes or no? Sure. They have to so just because somebody is a man, it doesn't mean that it's easy. They also, although it's a man's world, and men are by nature competitive.
Yeah.
Right? That's what men do. They fight and they find food. Right? Yeah. So they usually they're fighting all the time.
Cruel, yeah.
Exactly. So it's not easy also for men. So that's what I'm saying. Take the initiative. Believe in yourself. Learn education. Use education, and try to gain as much competitive advantages as you can in your environment to prove result. But still, you have to be emotionally intelligent, and you have to acknowledge reality, and you have to understand system. That's why when I teach, the pillars, the fundamental pillars of how about leadership is know and understand yourself. Strengths and weaknesses, your character, demons, whatever patterns. Know, understand others. Yeah. In this case, it's men, maybe, right? Know and understand systems, because every system has its own culture. You know, some systems are pro-women. Some systems are against women, you know. So understand the system that you're going to compete in. Then number 4 is know and understand authority. Who is making the decision?
Yeah.
Is a man making the decision or a woman?
Yeah.
Right? And then number 5 is acquire these skills like negotiation, communication, persuasion, all of these skills that will help you navigate. But it's getting easier and easier, and women are proving to have strengths that in general the men they don't have, like in general. I'm not being specific. Like women are more collaborative, or more cooperative. Women are are less violent. Women are less conflict.
They say less corrupt as
they-
well.
It depends. Yeah, in general, women have the motherhood issue and the rest. So women are better administrators in general, right? Although there are in some cases men are better than women, and in some cases men are better and women better than men. But in general, so women can bring so much into the table.
Absolutely.
So if you learn how to capitalize on this and build it, you will have advantage. And as I said, bottom line is blame and feeling sorry and all that doesn't help. Doesn't help. Just you're so strong. Use your strengths and prove yourself. It's not going to be easy, but that's how life is. Not easy for everyone, but it's worth it. And you will see when you succeed, people will get used to it, and you will be rewarded.
I'm glad that you've mentioned the tools and the strategy how you teach, because for those who are into this topic, who is interested, we will provide links to CELA network, which is quite competitive and it covers this region, and the link to Global CEO, which the academy that Michael conducts for more advanced level of participants. If you are interested, you definitely I advise you to go through that, because I'm a graduate of CELA and I'm very interested in going to Global CEO Academy as well. So continuing our conversation about leadership, I would like to touch upon another group, very interesting group of people who are introverts,
yes,
who do not look like leaders from the first glance. They might look shy and they might be too silent. So in general, what would be so many founders and executives are introverts, but what would be your practical advice to them, how they have to be more effective? And is this an advantage or disadvantage that they are introverts? How should they capitalize on the aspect that they cannot change in themselves?
Yes. Now the notion that introverts can't exercise good leadership is wrong. Of course, history is full of people who are introverts. But they did great things. They exercised wonderful leadership and they changed nations and countries. So it's not a rule at all. And as you said, like in everything, there are pluses and minuses. Now, introverts are not the best in communicating the style that extroverts do, right? I'm not saying they're not best in communication. They're not best in communicating the same way, but there's a million ways of communication.
Yeah.
They can still communicate, but it's not as visible and as energetic and all over the place like extroverts. That's number one. However, introverts are thinkers, right? They like to spend more time alone, which is thinking time, rather than being with people all the time, and that consumes energy. So there are pluses and minuses for both sides. Introverts also make less mistakes. How does a fish die? It's caught by where? Every time. A fish would not be caught if it doesn't open its mouth. Right? The hook is from the mouth.
Yes.
Right? So people who are extroverts who talk a lot, they make a lot of mistakes. Exactly. They say things that they shouldn't say, and they mess up, and then they have to clean the mess, right? Now, because they're just all over the place. Now, at the same time, they're excellent mobilizers and motivators and communicators and the whole thing. That also helps. But with a price. Big mouth, problems, right? Now, in introverts, don't have that kind of exposure because they speak less, but they don't have the same space like sort of the charisma that that extroverts can do. However, in the end it's about mobilization, and mobilization happens through connection, and through communication. There are so many ways of communicating. One of the in the Western world, at least, one of the most famous speeches in history, at least in recent history, is the speech of Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, he gave during the Civil War. That speech is very short. It's 184 words, but it's remembered as one of the best speeches ever. So it has very little words. It's not like a 3 hour, it's known that Fidel Castro used to speak for hours.
Yeah.
Hours and hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
You cannot stop him.
You cannot, exactly. And Lincoln's speech was under the 80-something, 87 words maybe, plus or minus. But it was equally effective, and it was even in one of the famous speeches in history.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, if you're an introvert, use your powers, use the advantage that this gives you. You have space to be more strategic.
Mm-hmm.
You will make less mistakes. You will spend more time in designing and articulating your ideas. And with the technology that exists now, you can communicate and mobilize in so many ways. So those days are gone. Introvert or extrovert, you can exercise leadership from any position if you know yourself well, and you know how to use your strengths, and you know how to compensate for your weaknesses.
I see. Great. Michael, you have, and that's one of the teasers I wanted to do, is that you recently joined the board of Paynet,
Yes.
the company,
Yes.
a very famous company in Uzbekistan with a history. And it means that you now gradually starting to understand the ecosystem in Uzbekistan, the economy, and overall the region. So what would be your advice to Uzbek companies? I mean, zooming out to the whole country, in coming 5 years, what would be the biggest, let's say, 3 challenges and 3 opportunities for companies in Uzbekistan?
It's too early for me to make that kind of accurate judgment or recommendations because I'm new to Uzbekistan, although I'm quickly falling in love with the culture and the people. And I'm not just complimenting you. I mean, your history is, who doesn't know the history of Uzbekistan? In architecture, in art, in Sufism, in poetry, in philosophy, in food. In my part of the world, the best food, we call it Bukhara rice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in carpets, right? So people, even without knowing where Bukhara is, they know.
They've heard this word.
They know that Bukhara rice is the best one. Anyway, so it's my honor to be at the board of Paynet. I know the management well. They've attended. The top management attended the master classes that I give, and so I know them well, and it's based on that knowledge that I was gladly to accept the honor of being part of the board. It's a management team that I trust their competence, that I trust their values, that I trust their energy and their enthusiasm, their ambition. And I'm hoping that I can make a good contribution to make it as like a model company to follow. Now, when it comes to Uzbekistan, I have, in my research shows that Uzbekistan is one of the fast-growing sort of economies. There's the medium and there's the low and there's the fast-growing economies in Central Eurasia and the Caucasus. That's part of the world. It's a very strategic part of the world. Very strategic, between Europe and Asia, right? So it's growing fast. I think it's projected that 2025 it will be like 5.9% growth, which is on the high end, right? So you're growing.
Yeah.
And growth happens at 3 levels. Local level, internally you grow, and regionally you grow, right? And internationally you grow. Now, it's too late to talk about internet, so now we're talking about AI. With that kind of technology, competition is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, right? And more invasive. I'll give you an example. Maybe let's say, I'll give you a silly example. So maybe not many people could read and understand and speak Uzbek.
Yeah.
Give it 2 or 3 years, maybe it exists now. You might have an avatar who speaks fluent Uzbek. Right? So you might be calling a company, sort of an 800 line or a hotline somewhere in Uzbekistan, right? You think it's an Uzbek company, and you will be talking to a machine that speaks Uzbek like your neighbor.
Yeah. With an accent.
With an accent, the whole thing. And it could be a company like, I don't know, in Japan or China or Germany or Mexico and Chile. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? So what do you do with that? So what I'm saying is the competition, the pressures of competition, you know, the speed of movement, especially now, is scary. I'll give you an example. We are living in one of the most exciting times in history, I'll tell you. As we go with AI, in our lifetime, if we live, you know, we go into sort of the second level of AI, the smarter AI, right? And then there's the super smart AI. This will happen next 5-10 years, right? It is unlikely that such a jump in technology will happen the next 500 years.
Oh, so it's really a big leap.
We're living it now.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing. It is unlikely that in the next 500 years there will be such a leap in technology.
Why do you think so? I mean, what?
Because it's a major thing. I mean, in history,
like an electricity when it was invented.
No, much better. This is like bigger than invention of fire, because it has never happened in history that a tool becomes smarter than the user of the tool.
Yes.
It never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened. I mean, computers, okay, they're very smart, but they wait for instructions.
Yes.
To get to a point where a computer now, or a machine will tell you, will become smarter than you, I mean, it's scary stuff. Never happened, right? So, and this will go exponential.
Yeah.
Because now, in fact, with the new upgrades that, you know, Krog and the rest are doing, GPT and Gemini and the rest, right? Already it's at a PhD level.
Yeah.
Already it's solving problems, you know, scoring tests that human cannot score.
Yeah.
Already is finished. We're beyond that, right? So as that perfects itself, now the AI itself is improving itself. So it's writing its own code.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're living in that day. So and that's a race. That's a race. If you don't jump on the wagon now, you don't belong to the future. You do not belong to the future, right? You will be
as a nation.
Yeah. A human and a nation and organizations, because AI has been democratized.
Yeah.
I used to think in the past that AI will remain in the hands of government and maybe huge organizations. But this shocking thing that happened, that everybody has AI now.
Yeah.
Everybody. I never thought that it will become available to the public. I thought it will be, you know, government stuff, you know, or huge organization stuff.
Yeah.
But individuals doing this is like mind-boggling stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, make 20-year projection, and the way it's advancing, you see how scary. Anyway, so what would I say to Uzbekistan? Number one, language. English. International language. Find whatever, English or not English, whatever is the international business language, learn it.
Might be Chinese, might be French.
Whatever it is, wherever you want to sell, learn their language.
Understand your market.
Understand your clients. Yeah. Huh? It's 3 laws. That's, understand your industry or yourself, understand your competitors, and understand your market. Right? So you have to do that. So language, number one. Number two, technology. You can't be behind in technology. You can't.
And you are not referring to programming or coding.
No. I'm referring to AI stuff.
Right?
The latest technology. I'll tell you why, my friend. Listen, it's non-negotiable, because your competitor is already doing it.
Yeah.
Your competitor is doing it. So you have no choice. It's not a matter of I do it or I don't do it. It is done. That's the rules of the game have changed. If you don't know how to play by the new rules, you're out. You have no chance of survival.
Yeah.
Right? So technology is the other thing. You have to...
Something like a prompt engineering.
You have to be at maybe if you can't be at par, but you have to be like one step. Maybe you can't develop whatever here, but you can. Why not? I mean, look at DeepSeek, right? So why not? You can. So technology, number two. Number three is that to do business at an international level, my friends, whoever is listening, you can't play with local games. Right? You can't run a business with a local mindset and grow regionally or internationally. To play at an international level and to compete with the big guys, you have to beat them here in your mind.
Yeah.
And for that, street smart is not enough.
The conversation we had in the
Exactly.
beginning.
Street smart is not enough. So you have to learn. You have to learn how to build an efficient organization like Amazon.
Yeah.
You have to learn that. You have to learn how to from the Chinese, from the Americans, or whatever. You have to learn that. So if you want to compete globally, you have to become a global thinker.
Yeah.
That's why the program I do is called Global CEO Academy. And when I'm saying a global CEO, I don't mean a position or a title. CEO is a mindset.
Yeah. Like leaders.
Exactly, is a decision maker. That's what CEO is. What do CEOs do most of the time? They make decisions. CEOs don't do budgets, don't do marketing, don't do sales.
Absolutely.
They decide. They make decisions at a strategic level that will determine the future success or failure of the company, correct? Mm-hmm. So you have to have that mindset. And so that means that you have to learn the knowledge and the information and the skills and the competencies and the behaviors that not only can match your competitors, but can exceed them.
I see.
So number one, language. Number two, technology. Number three, learn how to think globally if you want to compete globally, if you want to go outside.
So if AI...
Otherwise, the world will come to you.
Exactly. Like, as you said, the world is being reshaped. AI is reshaping jobs, as you say. And here in Central Asia, unfortunately, we don't have that educational system which it can catch up with the world educational system. So how leaders need to prepare the workforce for this shift? Like, how do they prepare their teams?
Training. Of course, training, education. One of the main listen. It's said that the people who can adapt best survive, right? Now, what does adaptation? Adaptation requires three things. Number one, to adapt, you have to learn.
Yeah.
Right? Adapt means you have to have new information, new data, so that you can change your ways to fit your new environment, right? You have to be flexible and agile. Yes or no? Otherwise, you can't change. Okay. You'll break. How can you adapt if you're not flexible? And number three, you have to have the courage.
Yeah, that's very important.
Right? So the first one is learning. You have to learn. Now, a learning organization has a chance. An organization does not have a learning culture will die. Absolutely. Finished. Why? Because your competitors are learning day and night. Now, unfortunately,
the cycles are becoming very
fast. Yeah. Now, wait, and I want also the viewers to listen to this. Unfortunately, most CEOs think that training budget is the least important. So, whatever happens, your growth has moved from 10% to 9%. They panic. Oh my God! Now we're into one digit. So cut the cost. Right? What do you cut first? Training. Why? Because it's luxury.
Yeah.
Right? It's luxury. Why? Because instead of making 10%, you're now making 9%. My friend, you're still making money. And the budget that you have on training and education and learning, this is not wasted. It is. Only through that, maybe you can go back to 11% and 12%. So how can you shoot yourself? This is like, I'll give you an example. This is like, your business is not doing well, let's say, and you decide because your salary dropped or your business is not doing well, let's say profits for income from your business went down by 10%, you say, you know what, we have to cut costs, so let's not send the children to school. It's true, right? It's like, you sit with your wife, you know what, I used to make $10,000 or $3,000, whatever, now is like, the business is going down, I'm making $2,500. Right? So I'm thinking maybe the children should not go to school for 2 years until we pick up again and then we'll send them. How can you do that?
You cannot do that. Yeah.
Exactly. How can you do that? Training is learning, and learning is never an expense. Yeah. Learning is an investment in your survival, an investment in your future, because your competitor is learning. They don't stop learning, and there's so much evidence, empirical research, academic evidence, that the highest return on investment is investment in education.
For those who think that this is a cliche, and they would say, oh guys, you are running institutions and educational programs, You guys are interested. You have a vested interest for people to invite
I
them.
tell them, don't send your children to school. I tell them, don't, and I tell them, show me a place where an ignorant person won against a smart person. Show me a place where an educated person lost to an ignorant person.
Well, there are societies where it's not merit-based. Like, let's be honest, there are societies where not the smartest person is the richest. But how long is going to be like
Yeah,
that?
but my friend, the richest will not remain the richest if they don't learn to be the best, because something smart that they did that made them rich, right?
And borders are opening up. Now it's becoming a global competition, as you said.
Exactly. Now, listen, whoever is listening, you are not the only person on this planet.
Yeah.
There are 8 billion other people dreaming every day to become billionaires.
Yeah.
Every day, especially with Instagram and all of this social media.
Yeah.
When they look at all these private jets and stuff, everybody wants that. And there are 8 billion people, right? Maybe not all of them, but in the millions, they are thinking of what could be the next big idea. What could be next? There are people, while you're asleep, my friend, while you're asleep,
Somebody's working.
somebody is working day and night. Somebody is in a garage trying things.
Yeah.
Somebody is borrowing money to study. I paid, for 15 years, I paid the debts of my education. I did not have money to pay. You know, it's expensive to go to Harvard. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I don't know, $100,000. So imagine if you go to 4 or 5 years to Harvard. That's like $500,000. Where do you get that money when you're not working? Because you're full time,
Yes.
right? But if you know the price of education and the value of education, you borrow the money, and if you have courage, and you have thought, you have hope, dreams of in the future, you borrow the money, and you go and educate yourself, the best possible education, number one. Number two, after you do that, it will pay back in 1 year.
How?
Because education makes you smarter. Education makes you more efficient. Education increases your chances of winning against competition. Right? So whoever thinks where there's like mediocrity or whatever it is, right? Listen, my friend, you're not competing with your neighbor. You're competing with the smartest. I'll give you an example. I was in Dubai. Good. Now, the mall of Dubai Mall is the biggest mall in the world,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that you need in consumer products, technology and clothing, that doesn't exist in Dubai, in that mall.
Yeah.
Good? Now, listen. So I enjoy going there to see how, for many reasons, see all these people, how they come together from different nationalities, and how society, economy is bustling with energy. I went there for 2 or 3 days, every day. None of my shopping happened there.
Why?
I used to come to the hotel and order from Amazon.
Oh, I see.
Right? Same product, Same
You
product.
would just try and
Yeah,
then
I look at it and I look at the price, right? And I say, okay, while I'm there, I just Google this. I look at search for Amazon on the same thing, and I see the same price, 20% less.
Yeah.
Now, why should I buy? Considering that it will come to my doorsteps the same day.
Yeah.
In a beautiful package.
It's just a free showroom.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, listen, is the most luxurious mall, right?
Yeah.
Everything is there. It's beaten by what?
By an
By
online.
an application online, and it's much nicer. It is much nicer. Why? Because it comes to your doorsteps.
You don't have to carry it, and they return.
Beautifully packed, number one. So you don't have to go in the heat or whatever. It comes to your home, number one. Number two, you don't like it?
Return.
Return, just return. You don't even have to explain, right? Number three is what? It's discounted prices.
It's cheaper, yeah.
I was there. I was in the middle of the mall. I bought nothing from the mall. Everything that I liked, while I was there, I researched considerably. I saved like several $100s because it was a collection of things that I bought. All of them took it. And so what I'm saying is, this is coming to you. This is your competitor now.
Yeah.
This is your competitor. And with the way transportation is happening, this same day delivery and the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you compete with this? That's why the only hope you have is learning, training, learning. Now, The other important stuff. Please, CEOs, listen to this, and HR people, listen. I'm asking the CEOs and the HR people a question. Which kind of schools you send your children to? The cheapest school, if you can afford it, or the best schools?
Of course.
It is my understanding most people would rather families put pressure on themselves, put pressure on themselves. Maybe have 2 jobs or 3 jobs, or a mother or a father would say, let's not buy clothes this year, whatever. Let go of some, not even luxuries, some necessities that comes to them personally, so that they can afford to send their children to the best school.
Better school.
Right? Because learning is about filling your brain.
Yeah.
You fill your brain with wrong stuff, then what happens? You do make wrong decisions.
Yeah.
You fill your brain with garbage, then it becomes garbage, right? You fill your brain with good stuff, then you become smart. You become smart.
Sure.
So that's why they say, you know what, we will send them to so-and-so school or get this training company or whatever because it's cheap. My friend, you're shooting yourself because you are polluting the brains of your staff with education or learning that is old and obsolete now.
Yeah.
At a time, your competitor is spending fortunes on getting the best people to teach their staff. So who do you think has a better chance? You and your team who have been trained by learning, by knowledge that is 10, 20 years old, right? Off the shelf, whatever, stuff, or by the best minds.
Absolutely.
Because the last thing you should play with, you should sacrifice is what goes into your mind.
Absolutely.
And as I said, the example is think about your staff, your children.
Yeah.
And when in the corporate world, organizational world, your staff are your children because they're making the world. So if you don't make them smart, they'll be dumb. If they're dumb, then what do you expect? Customer service will go down, productivity will go down, innovation will go down, unnecessary problems, waste of time, whatever, while your competitors is going up like a rocket.
Especially when businesses and the world is becoming so much human-centric, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's around people rather than machine or equipment. It's about people's decisions and value is over there.
Of course, but they call it the experience. It's about the experience that your client has.
Absolutely.
Customer experience.
Thank you so much. And probably it's going to be final few questions. Thank you so much for going so deep in terms of the AI and lots of changes that's happening around the world. Final questions are going to be around your advices. And one of the questions I would like to ask is, in your view, so universities like us, and we spoke so much about education, business schools, and particularly entrepreneurial universities. What kind of role can we play in the transformation of the economy? Like, what should be our role? And I'm not referring only to us, because while we were driving here, you asked me a question, how many institutions and universities exist in Uzbekistan? And I said 200. So it's about a big, I would say, a plast of in the sector of the economy. What would be your advice? How they should compete and what role they should play?
Well, I think universities, the same rules apply to universities that apply to all businesses, which is, number one, choose something. You can't be good at everything.
Yeah.
You cannot be good at everything, right? Choose something that is based on your uniqueness, that you choose to be good at, and be excellent in that. 200 universities, it is hard for any university, I'm talking from a strategy point of view.
Yeah.
It is hard for any university to be number one in everything.
Yeah.
Right? Now, let's take my university. Now, the university I'm going to, UCL.
Yeah.
My research is about leadership education, right? Women and the rest, right? Now, in the ranking of UCL, it is one of the top 10 universities in the world. Sometimes goes up and down. When it comes to leadership education, for the 12th year, it is number one.
UCL?
Yes.
Oh.
Higher than Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford. You know? Number one, 12-year worldwide.
Okay. So
Number
they're
one.
focused.
Exactly. So that's their niche. I'm not saying they're bad about other things. No, they're good. But this one, they're number one. And the world has been saying that for 12 years. Now, in architecture, maybe there's another university. In economy, there's another university. It's like hospitals, you know?
Yeah.
There are special eye hospitals, you know, special, I don't know, hair transplant hospital, special delivery hospital,
yeah.
special cancer hospital, special children hospital, you know?
Yeah.
So what I would say to universities is find a niche, something that you would like to be a specialist in, and put everything in it.
Don't try to be.
You cannot
Yeah.
you cannot be the best university in business at the same time best university in medicine and the best in engineering with all its subjects and in arts and sciences and in music and in physics and in astrophysics. You cannot do that. I mean, nobody can do that.
Sure.
Because the budget that you need, the institutions that you need to build for
Enormous.
that is enormous. And so you have to decide, are you going to be average in everything?
Yeah.
You know, or you're going to be absolutely the best in everything. Business and logic says it's better, it's wiser, it's smarter to create an area of uniqueness and to be the best of the world in that way. And when you do that, the whole world will come to you. I'll give you an example. In Lebanon, there are different kinds of sweets. There's one sweet called knafe. I don't know if you know, I've heard
Yeah,
of it.
I've heard of
Knafe.
it, yeah.
It has cheese, you melt the
Yeah,
cheese
yeah.
and stuff. Beautiful, very yummy. Anyway, so there's so many shops that sell sweet, right? When you want to buy knafe, you ask anybody in Lebanon, they say, go to that shop. Don't buy so and so. They make cakes, huh? They make like cheesecake
Yeah,
and stuff. They say, for knafe, go there.
Yeah.
Cheesecake, go that place. You know, falafel. There's like, you know, do you have falafel here?
We know. No, we don't have.
We know
it
what
yet,
it is.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like shawarma. You know shawarma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shawarma is very popular in
Okay,
Egypt.
okay. You know, like if I ask you now, where do I go for shawarma? I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll tell me go to that place.
Absolutely.
Right? And sometimes people drive. You know, if you go out like 5 minutes, there's a shawarma place. But
You would drive
like half an hour to get that shawarma place. So because that guy has become the best in what they do. So it's the same thing. Each university, even if you have so many faculties, keep them, right? But focus on one that is your absolute specialty and become the attraction point, become the mecca of that place. And you will see, because people want the best, the whole world will come to you. And you will have more than enough clients and you will have waiting lists because it's in their interest to go to the best.
Yeah.
And once you become the best, then you don't have to sell and do marketing anymore. You will have raving clients.
You can pre-select. And
Yeah. You will have like you know, the Ivy Leagues, Harvard and Princeton.
yeah.
You know, they get
5 or 6%.
Yeah. Listen, they take 5 or 6% of eligible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not
The
everybody.
best.
So the best of the best apply.
Yeah. Qualified.
Each one of them should be admitted. You know, they have all the requirement, GPA 4 or whatever
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? But out of all of that, they take the top 5%. You see?
Yeah.
So when you do that, then you'll become a conversion point, and you will succeed. So that's why here we come to another aspect of strategy. Forget about I want to be the largest and the biggest. There's no largest and biggest.
Yeah.
Right? There's no largest and biggest. There is in a special domain, you are the best.
Okay.
Right?
It sounds like we are on a right track. I mean,
I think so. From you tell me that you're on the right track.
being in the niche and being only not trying to be a full-fledged university, especially when UCLs and so many universities are taking the best talent. So specialize.
Specialize and use all kinds of technology, online, offline, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Use all the tools. Bottom line, deliver the best educational experience ever.
I see.
And that's how, number one, you succeed. you grow, and number two, you contribute to society, and you make a good impact. Number three, you become rich financially. You become rich, and you use that money to further improve yourself.
That brings us to the book, the Find Your Hummus, because the guy was actually doing the best hummus in the whole city,
and out of that hummus, it became an empire.
Absolutely.
By the way, in my country also, if you want hummus, people tell you go to that place or choose that brand.
I see.
You see, so just find something that you can, not you love to do only, you actually can become the best at.
Great.
Right?
Michael, with the final question on the books, because we started talking about books, give us a couple of advices on the reading for those entrepreneurs who want to be ambitious and be global players. Anything that maybe that impacted you personally, or you think it's a good reading? Couple of books.
Yeah. Listen, unfortunately, everybody now is a philosopher. Everybody now is a professor. Everybody now is sort of wise guy.
Yeah.
Everybody is like into self-help. Everybody is an encyclopedia. I look at social media and I look at it. I mean, like, wrong from the sense that it's not empirically right, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, says who? Just because you have a nice presentation, it doesn't mean that we're saying so and so. Wrong. Right? I just saw something at some stage today that says never take other people's opinion.
Take others' opinions.
I mean, whoever said that. So what do we do with feedback? We kill feedback. I mean, why do you do feedback? Why do you do surveys? What do you mean? Don't listen to other people's opinion. I mean, if you do that, you die.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody is telling you, don't go that road, there are lions and tigers, they will eat you. Say, no. Somebody said, never listen to anybody's opinion. Listen, how do you learn? When you're learning, you're taking the opinions of all the writers of these books, you know? Don't listen to Newton about gravity. Don't take his opinion. So what I'm saying...
Create your own gravity.
So what I'm saying is, be very careful who do you learn from. Make sure that these people know what they're teaching you. And when you choose a book, look at who wrote the book and look at their credentials. And look at what they've done in their life and if they know what they're talking about. You know, a bachelor, somebody who has not married, doesn't have kids, have never married before,
don't expect.
Yeah. I mean, if they write a book about how to solve marital problems, I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, how do you know?
Yeah.
Right. This is one of the most important questions. How do you know? Right. So whoever is writing all these books, ask yourself, how do you know? If you look at their profile and what they do, and if they know and they've proven it, then definitely buy. Let's say customer service, right? I mean, how can you not read a book that talks about the experience of Jeff Bezos in creating an organization that is freaked out and obsessed about customer service?
Yeah.
I mean, how can you argue with him? And how can you ignore him and go and read a book from somebody? Maybe he did other things, but I mean, this guy is the best. I mean, it's proven. So always, listen, it's not reading. It's what you're filling your brain. What you're feeling, it's like eating. You don't eat something that would hurt your body. You make sure that you don't eat poison or have poison, right? Or corrupted stuff. You make sure that it's the best, or it's clean, it's healthy. So when you read, make sure that you're reading from the people who not only know how to, draw paragraphs and diagrams and all this stuff. Read from the people who have done it, who have experience, and you've seen their experience, and they're the best at it. Yeah. So learn from the best in whatever domain.
Proven and track record.
Exactly, from the best, not second best, from the best.
And interestingly, the world and technologies can offer you now to learn from the best, right? I mean, previously it was not possible for everyone, but now it's available on your palm.
Exactly. I mean, just on YouTube, you want to customer service, just write, Jeff Bezos, and listen to his whatever he said, his interviews,
Yeah.
and you learn. It doesn't. There has never been a time where knowledge, was so available to everybody. But you have to be smart on where to go. It's like you have to be smart from which spring you have to drink, right? Which videos to watch, from whom, which books, which universities to go. Before I chose my universities, I did plenty of research, and I made sure that not only I go to the right university, but to the right teacher,
Yeah.
right?
So you don't just choose the shield, but you also look for a particular master.
Yeah, exactly. And you learn from the best.
Yeah.
And that's how you become the best, because you become the student of the best. And if you don't do that, your competitors will do it.
Absolutely. Michael, such a great pleasure. Thank you
for hosting.
for sharing so much wisdom, and we encourage you to like, share, and leave your comment, your thoughts, and if you enjoyed what you have heard and you think that this is useful, go into the links and apply to educational institutions that Michael leads, the Global CEO Academy, or CELA Academy, or Team University, where we also try to teach initial basics of leadership and management skills.
I want to thank you for this opportunity. There is nothing more honorable than teaching, and there's nothing more honorable than giving people, the most effective weapon or tool to make their life and the lives of people around them, whether at a family or organization or their staff or their customers or their constituents, better. So all the best for Team University, and it's all, I know you from, it's a long time ago. So what a beautiful example of entrepreneurship and leadership. And to the viewers, the students, I say, maybe you would ask him to give a course on entrepreneurial skills, or come and ask him if you just come and talk to Hikmat on how the whole idea of Team University started and what he learned on the way to make it happen, from dreaming to reality to now, that alone is a course by itself.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael.
Right.
Thank you.